This will be somewhat of a short update video. Well, I just wanted to talk to you about the books I read in March and the worst books I've read in March. Well, let's talk about the first book, which is Ready Player 2. Ready Player 1, I reviewed it I think like about a month and a half ago, and I didn't enjoy that book. I thought it was full of deus-ex-machina. In that video, actually, I think I had to make it a spoiler review. That's how rampant the problem was, where you had, technically speaking, every chapter and every paragraph was emblematic of the problem, where the protagonist got everything he needed to solve the problem. And it wasn't unique, it was just artifacts. They were everywhere, and they were solving the plot and every problem in the plot for the protagonist. Even toward the end of the story, man, the author nukes everyone so that the protagonist can have a quiet moment to finish the story. And that is what ended up happening in that book. I hated it and I abhorred every moment I was reading it. As for book 2, I actually picked it up, and guess what? The same problems have been repeated. What the heck? Because the author had so much time. The author had so much time to actually learn from his mistakes. And I think I'm going to have to do some research. I'm going to have to look into why this is happening. The review will be coming out sometime soon, but I think I will look into why this happened. How could have the author, despite having access to countless people that were telling him the issues I had with the book, and the book was full of artifacts that were indestructible, right? Let them survive in literally nukes, right? Catalyst, I believe, something like that, toward the end of the first book. He just repeated the same mistake. It's the same major big mistake. And also he added new mistakes, new problems. In the first book, the protagonist was boring and he was empty, and he still couldn't write that protagonist to make that protagonist interesting. This author cannot make an empty protagonist interesting. He decided to actually give Wade a flaw in this book. He decided to make the Wade a very complex character. What the heck? You couldn't write a simple character. You think you're going to write immediately a flawed character, okay? That's what I'm going for. You think you're going to write a flawed character? Come on, man. Shiz. Technically speaking, I didn't like this book every bit of the way. The prose, I forgot about that. It got way worse. What happened to this book? What caused this? I must investigate. Please look forward to the review. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I will approach this, but what happened? What happened is a very interesting, curious question to me right now. I have to know, how could have an author messed this one up so badly? And then let's actually take a look at the second book, which is Stone of Tears. I tried to read Stone of Tears again. It's the second book in Wizard's First Rule. I got further than I did the first time, but I still DNF'd it because it was still the same problems repeated over and over. Case in point, my issue with the first book was that the magic system in the story was basically used as a convenient mechanism for Richard to solve all of his problems. What would happen is that, you know, technically speaking, Terry would get everyone into trouble with magic, but then he would get everyone out of trouble with magic, and it didn't feel earned, you know. At least you can use magic to solve problems, but at least make it earned, you know, make it interesting. Using magic in order to actually solve a problem in a plot, it is risky business, okay? And as an author, you have to put in the effort to make your magic interesting and to make sure that your magic doesn't feel cheap, right? I hope that you can agree with me on this one. This book was full of that. I'm never picking up this book again. I only gave it a chance because a friend of mine saw my DNF'd books video, and technically speaking, they told me, I really think you will love it. Pick it up again. I think it's fun to read. And I did not enjoy it. The only reason I can see someone enjoying this book is if they enjoy putting themselves in the place of Richard. But I don't like putting myself in protagonists. I've said this many times. I like to understand the protagonist, and if the protagonist is an empty shell that I'm supposed to plug myself into, I'm not going to like them. If the author was going for that and they were trying to achieve that, good for them. Congratulations, you have succeeded by knowing I am pissed off. Okay, you have succeeded by the fact that I am pissed off by your protagonist, but I just don't want to put myself in the position of Richard. okay? I don't want that power fantasy. I enjoy a story where the protagonist is someone completely different and I have to put in effort to understand them. If that does not happen, I'm not going to enjoy the book and I will hate the book extremely. I don't know how to finish that sentence, but yes, you get the point. I didn't like Stone of Tears. It's a terrible book. I will never pick it up a third time. Simple as that. Case closed. And then there is The Black Company. The Black Company is a book that I tried to read, but quickly I ran into an issue I have with a lot of grimdark books. Two authors, Mark Lawrence and Joe Abercrombie. Though these two are the only two authors who fixed this problem, which is the lack of depth in grimdark and the exchange of depth for gore and violence, because the understanding is that to write a better fantasy story, you have to have a lot of gore and violence and you have to make it realistic. But I call this BS because I think realistic here is an excuse for a terrible story. And this is the issue I ran into with Black Company, where technically speaking, the story for the first 4 chapters, it really did feel like there was nothing more to the characters. The characters were extremely empty. And again, I told you, much with the Stone of Tears, like Richard Cypher, if the character doesn't have depth and there's nothing to understand, I am not going to enjoy the story. If the character honestly doesn't have any depth, I'm not going to enjoy the story. All my favorite books have at the heart protagonists that have depth and they have interesting stuff going on, right? And with The Black Company, I felt that the characters were empty. The world was at least interesting, the concept was interesting, and that is what hooked me. The art style, the cover, that was interesting. Hopefully, maybe in the far future, I will give it a shot. If you have read The Black Company and if you have finished it, let me know if it gets better and there's more depth toward the half and beyond point of the first book. If you say so, because of you, I will pick it up. If you don't say so, I'm just not gonna pick it up, right? I don't have any evidence right now to tell me that this book is good. All the evidence points to an empty shell of a story, okay? I hope that you enjoyed this. It was sort of a small discussion. I hope that you enjoyed. And tell me, what are the worst books you've read in this month? Have a nice day.